started on Lost Temple.
Good to
like
go,
Navi's
so we're
decision.
rocking out.
She's saying I'm trying to have fun, and she's just stressed, so feeling the pressure.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we've got Navi and Chompy, Zerg versus Zerg, Lost Temple. I am Harlequin. We've got Diggity and Moletrap here as well for this, the StarCraft Reddit tournament. So looks like we're going to start off here with Chompy in the 6 o'clock position, and we're going to start off with Navi in the 2 o'clock position. And as someone pointed out earlier, and I forget who this was, pretty much when you're in adjacent positions like this map might as well just be like a small 1 versus 1 map in terms of the relative distances here. So a lot more rushy strategies are suddenly viable here. If one player or the other decides they want to go for an all-in baneling, speedling kind of rush, these are the positions to do it off of.
Navi actually questioning whether she's dreaming or not that Diggity and Moletrap are casting. Apparently heard of us. Wow, I feel so special. It's a dream. I'm kind of curious since Harlequin that Chompy decided to choose this match if he has some sort of special strategy that he's going to show us here. Again, with these spawning points, it's going to be very, very close positions. And it's very small distances. It's going to end up being like a 1 versus 1. And someone actually asking, hey, who hasn't heard of you? Plenty of people, like constantly. I was like, on Reddit, and they're like, who's Diggity and why is he here even? Or other people are like, hey, welcome to Reddit, even though you've been here for 3 years. Things like that, whatever. Scouting drones coming out. It looks like both players are going to scout each other pretty quickly here. So I just have to assume that we're going to see early banelings and early speedlings on both sides, and it's just going to come down to a flat-out micro matchup and some fun ramp mechanics, or who's going to end up breached and who won't, really. But I really do want to see something special out of Chompy, possibly.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see something interesting going on. A little drone chilling in the back there. Just pool gas going up for both players, basically. Nothing too special at the moment. I mean, obviously it'll be a while before they can get anything else going on. It was kind of funny how they spawned adjacent and they both sent their overlords to the sort of opposite, the near air route instead of the near ground route, and so they scouted the wrong position. And that's interesting that I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Navi has been more on top of the drone scouting than Chompy. I don't recall Chompy doing the drone scout last game, but Navi did to make sure that she knew exactly what was going on, although it didn't seem to affect things too much last game. Spawning pool pops out. Queen immediately goes to work, and both players are going to have overlords arrive pretty soon, so they're going to know exactly. And there we go, Chompy going for the Roach Warren first.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting call. I'm going to be curious to see if we do get... So Navi's just about to build, and it's a Roach Warren as well. So it looks like we've got Roach on Roach. Both people are planning on, at least theoretically, they were both planning on blocking the other person's banelings by trying to get Roaches. So we'll see what they do with mirror Roaches at this point.
Yeah, one thing you have to be careful for, even going Roaches, is if you have if one player had gone banelings, it's theoretical. I also realized that the message that came up was on my screen because I wasn't streaming here, so I looked like I was schizophrenic talking about who hasn't heard of me. I had someone, never mind. I'm just going to stop talking now. No, you have to be very careful because if you do get a bulk number of banelings, they can just roll straight through the Roaches on kind of a timing attack, especially at close positions like this. But in the meantime, Chompy running in, instead of talking about theoretical stuff, let's actually talk about what's happening here. 4 Zerglings running in. They're just going to run through, take a little bit of damage, scout, and pop right back out. Run, Chompy, run! Just scurrying their way out. And that actually is going to be a pretty solid scouting advantage there for Chompy, because keep in mind, Navi can't get that Overlord inside the base. Let's see if he's able to block off. Wow, and actually turning around, Navi actually able to kill a couple of those Zerglings. So while they were trying to do transitions, so she's going to be able to do the same here and have a couple Zerglings to boot.
And metabolic boost just finished, and some Zerglings running in. A couple Queens trying to go back to those drones to hide. Wow, and picking off the Creep Tumor. Nice. Creep Tumor snipe before it could burrow. Some Roaches are going to be able to deal with those Lings, sort of. Lings are hiding up there. I don't know if he sees them. Are they going to run in? Oh, there go the Roaches. They're going to turn back. Nope. Never mind. Roaches have to defend. Huge timing attack coming in from Navi. Just a few Speedlings and some Roaches to fall up as well, and more Roaches as well. And cannot get up the ramp to fall back. The Roaches is falling to superior roach count. 2 queens chilling in the base. A few roaches are going to come out, so that is going to be barely enough to hold off these 5 roaches once they go in here. 3 roaches and the queens to follow, assuming that he fights with the queens or transfuses or something like that. But yeah, pretty much a big rush coming in from Navi. Here comes some more roaches popping out, so Chompy's definitely going to be able to hold this off. Navi needs to turn and run at this point. And actually, very interestingly, Navi's roaches are going to go down. She's trying to target fire down some of Chompy's roaches at the same time. So it's kind of interesting where the roaches were running away and the creep was placed just perfectly such that the creep was advantageous for Chompy's roaches and not for Navi's. Navi coming with more reinforcements, though. She's just really, I think, almost obstinately committing to this attack when she has a disadvantage at the moment, but manages to pick off the queen, actually. I didn't even notice she was targeting the queen. So that is a pretty decent victory.
Wow.
Yeah, looking pretty good for Navi. I mean, I was going to say that the problem with having like symmetrical roach-on-roach combat is that you can't really go in and gut econ the same way you can with Lings, and so unless she does any economic damage, it's kind of just trading units for the sake of trading units. But taking out that queen, at the other hand, that'll hamper production in the long run, because at the very least, Chompy's going to be forced to build another queen, which he hasn't yet for his expo, and so it looks pretty good still.
Oof, this is really where killing that creep tumor earlier really hurts. And I love what Navi's doing with her lings. She's throwing the lings up the ramp. She did this in the last attack too, so those roaches cannot escape. They have to engage right here. Actually, Navi should back off right here because she is inferior in numbers. She might be a little bit. No, okay, looks like she is going to be able to back off now, and do a little bit of kiting as she retreats and bring some more reinforcements in. But on that last match, really, or that last attack right there, if he had that other spawn tumor out, he might have been able to spread some creep down here to this lower location, had a much more advantageous fight, had the speed advantage. So those couple Zerglings earlier really paying off for Navi. Navi right now, unfortunately for Navi, even though she's had this natural expansion up for a much longer period of time than Chompy has, she has not been able to boost her harvester count. This is at the stage where she should have a much superior number of harvesters, and instead she is actually down about 4 harvesters on Chompy, and that really has been, I think, the past 2 games as well, is that despite the fact that Navi's put on some very good micro mechanics, she's really fallen behind in macro to Chompy.
Yeah, if I have one criticism I've seen often about a lot of Zerg players tonight is that, one, is that they undervalue the speed boost for the metabolic boost, but 2, it's that I see really inconsistent Maynard transfers of workers to their expansions. Navi in particular, this time you'll see she's just grown everything at her expansion, whereas she could have just, drawn a huge chunk in her main and pulled down maybe 6 or 7 of her workers and got that full production capacity in her expansion. Whereas Chompy pulled 8 guys down right away as soon as this finally popped, and he's fully utilizing that. So it's almost like he's had his expansion up longer than she has, even though, as you point out, ironically, she's had this up longer. So I'd like to see more consistency with our Zerg players tonight and how they actually take use and saturate their expansions.
No one talking, so I think I will. Might have lost Moletrap there. In the meantime, Navi is actually sending in more of a defensive position, and she's acting as though Chompy needs to come to her, when actually Chompy can just sit back, use the spawn larva. Looks like he's going to cap 2 additional gas. He's actually got more minerals in the bank. He's got a much higher income rate. He's got a lot of roaches sitting outside the natural secondary. Unfortunately for Navi, even though she thinks she's in a nice defensive spot, if she doesn't actually get a move on here in not too long, she's going to end up in a really bad situation. Currently, I believe as far as just pure army goes, it looks like an equivalent army for Chompy. It looks like it's actually 1 roach superior at this stage, although I think it's in production. Navi playing more defensively, even though she's not getting as much gas, she's not getting as much production. If she continues like this, she is going to end up falling behind and losing to Chompy on Lost Temple.
Sorry, I had my mic muted before and I didn't realize it. I totally started talking and I was like, and you interrupted me. I'm like, what the heck, man? Why'd you just interrupt me? And I was like, because I'm not talking. Anyway, yeah, Navi is falling behind here, way behind in workers. I think she either needs to, she might not be aware of the worker situation, but she needs to either attack right now and try and use her slight army advantage to put some pressure on, or just chill right now with these spine crawlers. I think that's what the purpose of them is, to just chill and drone. Well, I thought it was going to be to chill and drone up, but she's consistently producing more roaches, and Chompy has had more drones, and so is able to continue producing roaches and drones, and so is continuing to increase that lead in drones while increasing the roaches as well. This is not looking good for Navi in the long run at all. She's going to have to pull something sneaky off, or pull something clever off, or something to try and get back in this. Something to kill some drones, but she's not even ahead on Army that much right now. A little bit ahead on Army. Maybe if she made an attack right now, I don't know, but it's going to be basically the longer things go, the worse it's going to be for Navi at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say both players, and now things have changed since then, but I was saying both players were playing a little bit naively, which is in Navi especially right now, is the idea that, like, okay, so far it's a roach on roach war, I'm going to win this as a roach on roach war, and that's just not realistic. And if you look, you'll see that Chompy has had the insight to go ahead and get his Hydralisk up. He's got the upgrades up, and he's going to try this. And we have a big fight now between Roach Hydralisk, but she has a lot of roaches out of nowhere, and I believe she's got burrow and tunneling claws research too, so we'll see if she can capitalize on that during this fight right now. Hydralisks are going down pretty quickly. Roaches are trading one-on-one here, but it looks like we've got 0-0 upgrades and 0-1 upgrades for her. So Chompy might be able to, once he has equal roaches, to be able to just hold the back lines with the Hydralisks and really have them be the DPS for the army. That might end up being the best investment for him.
Yeah, currently at this stage it looks like Chompy's in a fantastic position where he's already got the roaches to fill in that little buffer, basically be the meat in front, and then he's got those Hydralisks that can just pound away so much damage very rapidly behind, and I almost worry for Navi right now, and actually dropping some Hydralisks on the high ground, going drop, which is very rare versus Zerg, considering they do have overlords and they can just go up and peek, so that's kind of cute. I don't know how successful that's going to be. I do like the creativity, though. I'll give her that. They do have superior range to these roaches, it looks like, but there is a spine crawler there to provide some support, and it looks like Navi's just going up and trying to eat some damage while that spine crawler just takes forever to plant. And it looks like, wow, actually going to be able to hit that gas almost like a Thor from that corner, so it's actually paying off for Chompy. Navi now going in for a big attack with a very fast army and catching a lot of those Hydralisks in the overlords, unfortunately, for Chompy. Chompy's going to have a
And there goes the burrow. Yeah, all of Chompy's army was inside the overlords, had to drop it out. Kind of not a good position, but going burrow, and they've got nowhere to run, though. Overseer being morphed right on top. He's got to come out and fight now or never. No, there's an Overseer right there. Run, get out while you can. He's going to be able to, she's going to be able to escape with those roaches for the moment, but she doesn't really have much to fall back to. A few more roaches coming out, but yeah, Chompy at this point, neither player has made drones since the last time I mentioned it a few minutes ago. They've just been putting out army, and because the 30 or 40% extra drones, Chompy's been able to put out the Hydras in addition to the same amount of roaches. And oh no, Navi not engaging with all of her roaches. Here he comes, and this is the final battle, I think. Chompy is going for the kill. The roaches in front, forming a nice concave with the Hydras in back, perfectly formed. And it's just going to be a slaughter at this point. It looks like Navi does have a few more roaches she's managing. I can't see because of the overlords in the way. I'm going to have to zoom in. It looks like there are a bunch of roaches underneath there still. And burrowing and unburrowing, just kind of desperately trying to get a little bit of advantage. The Overseer's right there. She must have missed it, so it doesn't really do much good. And finally, after a long, arduous battle, the Hydralisks do manage to basically make the difference and force their way through. And it's going to be GG here pretty soon. Chompy is going to go up 2-1.
That's really disappointing because Navi did such a fantastic job during the early game to take out that